Welcome to EasyWorship's Summer Training Summit. Thank you guys so much for tuning in across the web platforms, either Facebook or YouTube. Dan and I are super glad to be here with you tonight. So I'll go ahead and just do a quick introduction of myself. My name's Jared Warren. I am the Support and Communications Director here at EasyWorship. I've been working here for 5 years now of just awesome, fun times, and I get to go to all the conferences, meet and hang out with all of you guys, learn more about your stories, and then I also get to help chip in on the support side of things, help manage whenever you have issues and things, those come to our support team and they take care of you. And I get to talk to those guys all day about the problems that you see. Dan, why don't you give a quick overview of you?
Quick overview of me. My name is Dan. I am the training specialist, is what they normally call me around here. I've been here for 20 years almost. And so I know the software kind of in and out like the back of my hand. I like to play pickleball. I like to play golf. I like to play all kinds of sports.
Dan is he's our resident good at everything person. Like if you pick anything, Dan's going to be better.
Okay at it.
Yeah.
Okay
Master of none.
Yes.
What do they call it? Let me go ahead and turn the music down. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We've kind of upped our game in terms of our live stream. So we've improved our production, trying to make it look a little more professional. We got jazzed up a little bit more for you guys. I know some of you probably don't care, but some of you might. So we've got our little stream deck here. So we're going to be dealing with a few more technical things as we go through this. So we just pray for grace from you guys if we do anything silly in terms of logistics or technicality, because we also have a producer sitting in the room with us, Josiah, who's a beautiful Australian man who's joined us from across the pond, who will be letting us know how we're doing. So just to give you guys a heads up, if you're joining via YouTube or Facebook or watching in the future, please feel free to put any questions or comments that you may have in the chat. I'll be watching those live as we go through this training session. Basically, Dan and I are going to be giving you a brief tutorial from a basic and intermediate level of the software, kind of showing you the use case of it primarily, some of the base functionalities of the software, how you can do things like import songs and images and presentations, how you build those in the software. Kind of just a very broad overview to help get you and your team using the software the way that it really should be used. Help get the most bang for your buck, basically.
Right.
So I did pull a bunch of questions from you guys that you submitted via email over the past week or so. If you're on an emailing list, we gave you an opportunity to submit questions through that. Otherwise, feel free to put those in chat. And then I'll be sure to get to those as soon as possible. A lot of your questions will probably come to those naturally through the progression of the training. And if that's the case, I might just ping you on the chat and say, hey, we'll probably get to that in a few minutes.
I'll probably just go through a kind of the basic training of EasyWorship, try to quickly run through that, and that might answer a lot of the questions. But then, we'll answer some of the other questions that you guys have as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to give a super brief overview for anyone who is maybe tuning in for the first time, isn't yet a user of EasyWorship, maybe on the fence about our software and what it does. Just a quick 30-second elevator pitch of EasyWorship. So EasyWorship is a church presentation software that is intentionally designed for churches that are looking to grow and engage their community, their congregation, both in the church and outside of it. So we provide a platform that you can help increase your visibility through your live streaming, help increase your visibility in areas of your church that might not necessarily be targeted right now. Like if you have a nursing mother's room or an area in the entry area that's not being really utilized or people sit down, we can present out there as well. So there's a lot of use cases for EasyWorship. And as well as, increasing the overall feel and professionalism and worship experience in your actual worship experience. So be that, increasing or improving the way that your slides look, giving your pastor the ability to use a remote to present. All of these are use cases for EasyWorship, and we're kind of going to get to each one of those as we go through the training. There are two different pricing tiers for EasyWorship. There's a basic and a premium. The basic includes full access to the software, it's a subscription model, so you have to either pay monthly or pay for a year up front. If you do that, you get a pretty sweet discount on the software, which is already the cheapest software on the market, so it's an even better deal. Other than that, the basic comes with unlimited support. So if you have any issues that you have, you can feel free to email our support team, or you can call in from Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 Central Standard Time, and they'll be able to field one of your calls if you have any issues. And they're also available via chat too. And then any updates that come to the software, you automatically have access to those. Premium is our upper level, and we're seeing a lot more people jump over to premium in the past few years. So since we've unveiled premium,
it's a pretty good deal.
It is a very, very good deal. So premium includes everything that basic includes, but it also includes unlimited access to our premium media library. Our premium media library at this point has, I can't even remember the last update we had on it. 35,000 pieces of incredible content created from just awesome creators all over the world. Josiah, who's sitting in this room with us, he's one of our creators on the platform as well. Very, very talented creators who they make animated backgrounds, countdown timers for your service to start, lower thirds, mini movies that you can play to emphasize a holiday or a sermon series, and as well as just like really cool still backgrounds that you can throw behind your lyrics or your pastor's slides and just really elevate kind of the experience that your congregation is getting in church. And it's really not much more expensive at all than the basic. So you can save your church a ton of time and effort and energy and money if you are interested in that. I'll post a link to it in the chat.
Yeah, and we'll go over that here as well.
Yeah. And then it's also integrated in the software, so it makes things pretty easy to get those going. Did I miss anything, Dan?
If not, or if you did, we'll get to it.
Sweet. Sounds good. Well, we'll go ahead and dive in. I'll stop talking and let Dan jump into the software and kind of get us going. So thank you guys so much for joining us wherever you are. We're here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Feel free to engage with each other, to say where you're from. We really appreciate seeing all of those. I've seen, people from Honduras and the Philippines and Indiana. So it's really cool seeing the huge diverse crowd that we have with us tonight. But we'll go ahead and jump in and get started.
All right. So you guys should be seeing the EasyWorship screen now, and this is what you normally would see when you install and open EasyWorship. On all of the, there's some different views in EasyWorship. One of them is the preview and live view, which is the default view. When you open EasyWorship, you'll have the schedule on the left-hand side. You have a preview in the middle, and this shows you whatever you have selected in the resource area at the bottom. The resources includes your songs, scriptures, media, presentations, themes. So anything I select down here, it's going to show that in my preview window in the middle. And then I have a preview output. So if I select any of these slides, I can see what that looks like before I go live to it. Then on the right-hand side is your live window, and this shows whatever you've sent live. So if I click Go Live, it's going to send whatever I had in the preview to my live output. And this live output view is actually what's showing on my TV or projectors or whatever we're sending out to. And then in the live window, I can just select whichever slide I want to show live. And that's going to be the same for anything, not just songs, but any scriptures, media, or presentations that you send live. You can select it and click Go Live and send it to your live output. So before we get into all of that, into the resources, I'm going to go over some of the menu items here at the top. There's a file, edit, live, profiles, view, and help. So the file menu is basically what gives you the shortcuts here on the toolbar. So you have new, open, save. There is a store and web, and then remote, and that is for a remote app, or you can connect a Stream Deck. We have a Stream Deck here. You can connect that, or use the BitFocus companion app to control EasyWorship. So those options are under file menu as well. New, open, save. Close the schedule. I can print or run a report on any of my schedules or any of my on my database if I want to. I can reopen schedules that were previously opened, the last few that were previously opened, and then exit. All right, so those are just the file menu. Under edit, these are the standard edit menu items, and then there's options, and I'll open that here real quick. I'll just go through this a little bit. There's a main output, an alternate output. If you want to stream, you can send an alternate output with the same content, a different layout. Like if you send it to OBS or vMix, you can use alternate output to send NDI and capture that through OBS or vMix, or whatever streaming software you use that can receive an NDI feed. You can also use a display capture if you need to as well. But I would recommend NDI if you want to stream, and that's the alternate output. And again, that just sends the same content, just a different layout. So if you want the words with no background and you want to stream that over your camera feed, you can do that. And then the fold back, that is a confidence monitor. So if you're on stage, you can see the next line, the clock. Again, it's the same content. So if you show the song lyrics, those are going to be showing on the fold back, but you have other options as well. So a countdown clock to the stop time, or just a clock of what time it is, the next line or the first line of the next item coming up, the next slide coming up, whatever. So that's the fold back screen. Service intervals is just the start and stop times of your service. So you can set those, and those times, that clock can be set on your fold back so that you can see when the service is starting or when the service is ending. Advanced options, these are just mostly for troubleshooting, but there are a couple here to show live screen on startup. That means your live output will be live when you open EasyWorship, if that is checked. I like to turn that off. I want to start my live output manually. Advanced schedule after go live is pressed. That means when I have something in my schedule, when I go live to it, it's automatically going to queue up the next item in the schedule. So I don't have to go back to the schedule every time to select the next item and then go live. It's already queued up for me, so I can just go live when I'm ready for it. Another one down here is pack files in new schedule by default. That means if I'm creating my schedule at home to take to the church computer, I want to pack those files. That means it's gonna load up or save the videos and images that are in that schedule into the schedule file itself. That way, if you don't have those media files on the church computer, they're still going to work in the schedule. If you don't pack the files and they're not there, you're just going to see a black screen. So in summary for that, if you pack the files, if you create your schedule on a computer that you're not running it from, you want to pack the files and save those in. If you're using a laptop and you create the schedule on the same computer that you are projecting from, then you don't have to pack those files. And then enable remote control. That is for the free EasyWorship remote app you can download on your Android or iPhone. You can also install on your Apple Watch if you want to, and use that to control your schedule. And that's what Jared was talking about with the pastor being able to run the service with the remote app. So to be able to do that, you need to have this remote control enabled. All right, so a couple other things in the options. We have a default font. You can change default font settings for your main output. Those options are also in the alternate output and the foldback. But you can also make changes to specific items like songs, scriptures, presentations. You can change your transitions, and you can change your alert settings. So if you use a nursery alert or a message alert, those settings are here to be able to change those for your main output. All right, so those are the basic option settings. There are a lot of other settings in here that you can play around with and change. Feel free to do that. There's always, most of these if you change it, you can go back in and change it back to the way it was. If you change, let's say if I go into default font and I change the size and I can't remember what the default size was, I can hit the reset button at the bottom and that's going to reset it back to the default setting. All right, so anything that is in here, you can reset it. If you change stuff that maybe you can't remember what you changed, you might want to take a picture of it before you start changing things. That might help to get it back to where it was. All right, so that's the options. And if there are any questions on that, you can go ahead and ask that, and we can go back in and look at that too. All right. So another thing here is under the live, this is just logo, black and clear. These are the buttons over on the right-hand side. So when you're live to something, I can click logo, and that's going to put up a logo on the screen. Right now, it's just black. I don't have anything set as logo. I'll show you, once we get to the media tab, I'll show you how to set that logo to show what you want it to show on the logo screen. Black is just going to black out the screen, and click that again to bring back what was on the screen. And then clear is going to clear off the foreground elements, but leave the background. So if you have a background on there, it's going to leave that on the screen, but clear off any text or foreground elements that you have. Those are good ways to, if you get lost in the song, if you go to the wrong slide or you're not sure where you're supposed to go, you can always black out the screen or clear the screen, find out where you're supposed to be, select it, and then click the button again, or you can just double click on that slide and it'll automatically turn that back on. All right, so those are the buttons on the right. We also have, as I mentioned before, go live. Anything that you select in your resource area, or if I had items in my schedule, if I select one of those, I can click go live and that will send it to my live output. A double click will also send something to your live output if your live output is turned on. And when I turn that on, I can double click and it's going to send that song live. All right, and then the alerts. I talked a little bit about the alerts in the options menu. We have a nursery alert. I don't know that too many people use that anymore, but most people will use texting the parents on their phone or something like that, or they have a system already set up for that. But if you want to, you can give the parents a number, and then if they need to come back to the nursery, you can type in or tell the person running EasyWorship which number to enter in. They can type in the number here, send it live. Let me see if we do like 22 and press enter. It's going to put that up on the screen. And then when the parent sees that, they can go back into the nursery. And again, the options on that allow me to move it to whatever corner I want it to be in. Message alerts, you can type in just a quick, simple message alert, or you can create an alert template. Now with this, the template, you can put in messages that you might use often. You can also create countdown clocks timers, different things like that through the alerts. And that's a little bit more advanced. If we have time, we might go over that, but we do have a video on our website that walks you through creating a countdown clock and a full video on how to use alerts. But again, if we have a little bit of time, we might go over creating a countdown clock maybe. Profiles menu allows you to create and switch between profiles. The reason you might use multiple profiles is, let's say you have different types of services. You have a contemporary service and a traditional service, maybe a Spanish service or a different language service in the sanctuary. They all use the same computer. So you don't want to have those traditional and contemporary songs mixed up together. The options would be the same. The media would be the same, all of that, if you had them all in one profile. So you can create separate profiles by going to the Profiles Manager, and you can create those different profiles. You can create a traditional profile, a contemporary, Spanish, or whatever language, Chinese, whatever profile you want to create. And when you switch between those profiles, all the songs and media and everything are going to be separate. So it'll be easier to manage your data whenever you're using, creating your schedules and running those services. You can also use a network database and share a network share a database over the network between different computers in your church that are on the same network. And then switching between those profiles, you can just click on the Profiles menu and select whatever profile you want to use. The View menu, this shows you the different views that we have available. As I mentioned, we do have 3 different views. Preview and Live is the default view. I will switch to Preview and Live combined. This is a little bit different. I would not recommend using this view unless you're comfortable using this. The Preview and Live are the same window, so whatever I select here to preview is actually going live. And then the live output is in the top left corner above the schedule. The other view is Live with Resource Preview, and the preview for anything I select in the resource area is shown on the bottom right corner. And then the middle window is your live, where you select what's live, and the live output view is on the right-hand side. So just little different views. You can try each one of those out, see which one you like the best. The one thing I do like about the Preview and Live combined is there is a contiguous view. So if you turn on contiguous view, and I'm just going to drag a couple of songs into the schedule. That way we have some different things here. And you can see that it's combining those into a contiguous view. So if I wanted to use my keyboard to advance the slides, let me change the background. I'm going to show you real quick an easy way to change the background. I can go to Media. I'm just going to drag and drop a video onto the different songs. So now each of these songs have a different background. I can move the resources down a little bit, move it out of the way. And so now you can see the difference. We've got one song here, our first song. If I use the arrow keys to advance the slides, let me get back to the first song. Go live to the first song. Use the arrow keys to advance through the slides. When I get to the last slide of that song, it's going to automatically go to the next song. So the other views, you're not going to be able to do that. You would have to actually go live to the next song. This one, you can just arrow through the entire schedule without having to click go live. So you can use your right arrow key on the keyboard to do that. So that is one nice thing about this view, the Preview and Live combined view, is that you can have that contiguous view turned on. All right, I'm going to go back to preview and live. And you can see that I still have my schedule there that I added those songs to. So you can change the views without messing up your schedule or your database or anything like that. All right. That's the views. You can also go to light and dark view. Should I switch to, I'm going to switch to light. Yeah. After using dark view so long, I don't like the light view anymore. It's very bright. So I'm going to go back to dark. A little bit easier on my eyes. All right. Any questions so far that we want to go over, or are we? Keep on going.
There are quite a few. So let me go ahead and go to my list of questions that I've had so far. So we've had quite a few people asking about EasyWorship 8, the Mac version of EasyWorship, not necessarily the training side of things that we're going through right now. In terms of training, one of the things that has been asked is, what are some of the best practices for transferring data from one location to another? And can you explain a little bit more about packing files whenever you're saving to move things from one location to another, what that actually does?
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do the packing files first. So packing the files, as I mentioned before, anything that you put in the schedule, when you pack the files, it's going to save that into the schedule file. So if you've added any videos, images, your themes, backgrounds, any presentations, anything that you've put in that schedule, it's going to pack into the file that you save. So whenever you take that schedule to another computer, if I don't have those themes or backgrounds or those videos or images on the church computer that I'm projecting with, then those are not going to work because I didn't save those or I didn't pack the files in the schedule. So really the only reason you need to pack files in the schedule is if you're creating the schedule on a different computer than you're projecting from. If you're creating the schedule on the same computer that you're projecting from, you don't need to pack the files because it's just going to take up space.
Yeah.
And
they're already stored locally.
It's already stored locally on the computer that you're using. So, but if you have the same database on two separate computers, the one that you're building the schedule on and the one that you're projecting from, you don't need to, as long as it's the same database, the same media, you don't need to pack the files because it will find those from the resource area. If the file names are different, like if you have the same video on one computer as the other, but the name is different, it won't find it. So they have to be the same database with the same naming and everything. So if you want to transfer the database from one computer to another, you can do that. We have a transfer tool on our website that allows you to take the full profile folder that has all the songs, videos, presentations, themes, everything in it, and it'll copy it to an external drive or a cloud drive or wherever you want to save that file, and then you can restore it to the other computer, and then it's going to have the exact same database on each computer. Now, to keep those updated, there's a couple of different ways to do that. You want to use the pack files to keep that updated. That way, whenever you save the schedule and you pack the files, take it to the other computer, you can right click. Let's go back to the EasyWorship screen here for a second. I'll show that. So you can right click on this anywhere in the schedule when you open it and click on check schedule for changes. And this will show you the items in your schedule that are different than the items in your resource area. And what's happening here is it's telling me that the backgrounds for these songs are different than what's in the database, whatever the default background is. So it's asking me if I want to replace this item in the resource. I can tell it to do nothing if I don't want it to change anything. I can tell it to add to the resource as a new item, or I can update the schedule with what's in the database. Well, I don't want to update the schedule because I created that schedule specifically for that service. But I want want this database to be the same as the other one, and so I can replace that in the resource area. And once I select that setting, I can click import, and it'll import that into the database. So the best thing that the best scenario for this is when you create a song at home, create a new song, and it's not on the church computer. If you put that song in the schedule and check for changes on the church computer, then you can import that as a new item in the database, and it'll add that song to the database. So you don't have to type it in twice or import it twice.
Awesome. A couple of people have been asking about a Mac version. Is something we typically field questions on each time we do one of these trainings. So we do have a Mac version. We're allowed to say this out loud.
Yes.
It does exist. It is real. We're allowed to bring it out from the dark, recessed corners of our development office where we have people chained to their desks. So it is available for beta testing only right now. It is not public. We're not just throwing it out there for people to use because it's still in a testing format. So if that's something that you would like to experiment with us on and learn how to use, feel free to join our users group on Facebook. We have access to that beta through that group, specifically only right now. That's available on Facebook. I posted a link in YouTube. If you're already on Facebook watching this, chances are you're probably already a part of the users group. Otherwise, you can email us at support@easyworship.com and ask to get involved with the beta. We'd love to have your feedback and give you an opportunity to play with the software in the Mac version, something we've been waiting for and working on for a very long time. Other than that, we had someone ask about foldback, which I don't think we've had a chance to go to yet, is the different outputs, what they do. And one of the other...
Yeah, I did talk about foldback a little bit. If somebody has any more specific questions about foldback...
You might have been talking about it right when they were asking the question. That's very possible. Otherwise, we have had a few questions also about in number of outputs or displaying content on multiple displays that is totally different content from each other. With alternate output, you can display the same content but with a different theme. Mm-hmm. They're asking for one step further, maybe two different languages displaying on two different displays, or totally different content on any number of displays.
Yeah, currently that is not available through EasyWorship. But once we release 8 as a full version, that is, I believe that's something on our priority list for shortly after.
Yeah, that I can confidently say that that in cloud are the things that will make EasyWorship just as easy and powerful to use as it always has been and continues to grow with the size of your church. We're definitely working on those features to be able to do that. So specifically, in number of outputs and cloud are the two things that we're really focused on as a company once we have our Mac version fully released, which is EasyWorship 8, which is our next major release coming soon. Relatively soon.
It's in beta.
Yeah. Well, it's already in beta. It's not soon to be beta. It is in beta. It is in beta. Let's see. I'm not seeing any other questions right now. We'll just go ahead and dive back into the training. If you guys have any questions, once again, feel free to post those. We had somebody, Nikki actually asked a really good question on Facebook. She said, whenever you pack files, does that mean both computers have to be on the plan? So EasyWorship, we only have one license type. We offer campus licenses, which means you can use any number of computers for people who are serving one church location. So say you have your home church and you have 8 people on your tech team that are all working. You have a big volunteer team and they're all working independently on the schedule. They are allowed to access EasyWorship from those 8 computers in service of your one location. And we go on the honor system. We trust that you guys are going to be faithful with, the money that you're providing with us so we can provide you a good product. And same goes for us. We're going to provide you a good product to make sure that you're able to reach your church. But we're expecting you to be honest and faithful with us in that and not abuse the system of trust, right? So if you have 2 locations, you need to be buying 2 separate licenses for each of those locations. But if you have 10 people in service of one church, we understand that sometimes that happens, but typically it's only like 3 or 4 computers that really need access to a single license. So
yeah, I'll just say that registering the software provides 2 things for you. One, it removes the watermark so that you can project from that computer without having the watermark on the screen. And 2, if you've purchased any Bible translations, it gives you access to those Bible translations. Otherwise, if somebody's creating a schedule at home and they're not using the Bible translations, they're not projecting to anything, they're just creating the schedule, they can install EasyWorship, and it's a fully functional software, just has the watermark on the live output. So they can create the schedules using the demo and save that schedule and take it to the church and load it up and run it just fine. So it doesn't matter if EasyWorship on the computer that you're creating the schedule on is not registered. Now, again, if you need the Bibles that you've purchased when you're creating the schedule, you'll want to register that computer. If it's at home, in your office, whatever, as long as it's for your church, like Jared said, if it's for your church location, you can register it on that computer, whether you have 2 computers for your church that are running it or 200. It's a campus license, so you can install it and register it on as many as you need for your church. So what was her original question?
Oh, it was just do 2 computers need licenses if they are going to transfer data between the 2 of them?
They don't have to,
yeah.
But yeah, if you're projecting or need the Bibles, then yes, you'll want to register it. But otherwise, like I said, it doesn't have to be.
From Cozy Corner Lo-Fi, which is a real, Corner Lo-Fi. I said, is it possible to stream live on YouTube through EasyWorship? I just joined, smiley face. You can't stream directly through EasyWorship. What we suggest is using a software encoder like OBS or vMix, or what we're using is Boxcast right now. We highly recommend them and their products. They're really awesome company. So you can use EasyWorship as either a display or a source capture through that, and then you can present it out to your live stream sources, either Facebook or Vimeo or YouTube. Just be aware of any copyright issues or copyright things. Can't play YouTube videos and stuff through your live streams, things of that nature, which we'll probably have to go through eventually.
Yeah. But as we mentioned before, the great thing about EasyWorship is having that alternate output, so you can send the content that you want, the song lyrics that you're sending on the main screen in-house, or the Bible verses or the presentations, whatever you're displaying in-house. You can send those to your live stream without the background that you're using in-house and have it overlaid on your camera. So that's what we have the alternate output for in EasyWorship, to be able to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Once again, guys, if you are just tuning in, joining us late, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions about the software, please feel free to post them in the chat. Josiah and I are both actively managing that. So we'll go ahead and hop back into the training and see what Dan has for us in the next section.
All right. Well, I think we are at the toolbar. I already went over pretty much the buttons on the right-hand side. So on the left-hand side, we have a new button. Here you can create a new schedule. So this schedule I created, but I haven't saved it or anything. So if I click new schedule, it's going to ask me if I want to save that. Right now, I don't really need to save it, so I'm just going to say no. And then it just starts a new schedule. So from here, I can also create a new song, a new presentation, or a new song from Song Select. And a new song from Song Select is being able to import the song lyrics from Song Select directly. So we do integrate with Song Select, and if you have a CCLI subscription, you can import any of their song lyrics into EasyWorship for free. And once we get down to the resource area here in just a minute, I'll show you how to do that. The open menu, as I mentioned before, you can browse your computer or external drive or whatever you have your schedules on to open a schedule, or it shows you the last few schedules that you've opened, and you can select one of those. Save, that's going to save your schedule. And then store and web basically take you to the same place right now. So I'm just going to click on web, and it replaces your preview and live window. Hey, Jared, it's us.
It is us.
So it's going to take you to our website, and basically just some videos here, some media, and you can go to web at the top. Let's say we want to display our church website. I can type in the church website here. I don't have a church website.
Use my citychurchtulsa.com.
There you go. citychurchtulsa.com.
I don't know if that's our website, but I'm going to guess it is.
Oh, what? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's us. Pastor
All right.
Matt.
So, yeah. And then if I wanted to go directly to this website and send it live, I can, I think, go live. And there we are, live to the website. So I can move my mouse off of the screen onto my secondary screen and navigate that web page from there if I want to. I can go back to web. If I want to schedule this web page for later, all I have to do is click the little schedule button in the top right corner, and it'll put it in my schedule. Now, it doesn't save that website into my schedule. It just saves a link to that. So you need to be online when you go live to it. I know that's probably doesn't need to be said, but sometimes you never know.
One of the things that we will address during this point as well, which we're always asked during these training summits, is it okay for me to plop a YouTube video in my schedule? Am I allowed to play YouTube videos through EasyWorship? And our answer is always, you do you, but we cannot encourage you or say that you are allowed to do that, because if you're using YouTube videos, chances are you do not have the copyright to use that information or to use those videos in your service. And if you end up live streaming those to Facebook or YouTube, there's a very good chance that your channel could be either get a copyright strike or get blacklisted. So just be aware of that when playing YouTube videos through EasyWorship.
There you go. All right, so that is web. Also from web, I can go back to the home page. It takes you, has a link to take you to our support page, some more our knowledge base, articles, YouTube channel, frequently asked questions. So there's a lot of different things in this page that can help you out there. All right, then the remote, as I mentioned before, we have a free remote app that you can download on your Android, iPhone, or even your Apple Watch that you can control your schedules with. And this is where you would pair those devices with EasyWorship. The other thing that you can do in here is MIDI control. So MIDI allows you to advance your slides automatically with using MIDI notes. That is a little bit more advanced as well, so I'm not going to really go through that a lot at this point. But if you know what MIDI is and have if you use tracks and you use a program like Ableton or Prime or Playback, you can use MIDI control to have those tracks advance your slides automatically. so you don't have to have somebody at the computer pressing a button or clicking the mouse for each slide. And they would always come up whenever it hits the queue. It'll never be late. The things that computers can do that will take over.
It's pretty fancy.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
So that is the remote. Now, one thing about all of these different windows, the schedule, the preview, the live, these can all be resized. If I want to move my schedule all the way out of the way, I can do that. I wouldn't recommend that because a lot of times you forget that it's hidden and then you're like, where's my schedule? But the other windows can be resized as well. All of these can be resized however large or small you want those. There is some sort of a limit on some of them. And then the resource area also can be pulled all the way up, or you can hide it all the way at the bottom as well. All right. So that is everything above the resource area. And from here, we're going to start going through the resource area. Again, the resources are the songs, scriptures, media, presentations, and themes. So your songs are going to be your song lyrics. And if you edit the song and add a background in the database, that will allow you to save the background of that song in the database. But these are your just your song lyrics. And searching for songs is very simple. The default search is for a title. And it's an autocomplete and jump to search. So if I start typing in something like, let's say, goodness of God, you see that it automatically completed that with the first item it found alphabetically, which is actually the song that I wanted. So from this point, I can drag and drop that song into my schedule if that's the song that I want. If I don't know the title to a song and I know some of the words in the song, I can switch this to a keyword search. And that's just by clicking the little icon next to the song title in the search box. It's going to change to a magnifying glass. And I can just start typing in words that I know are in the song, but I just don't know the title of the song. So let me just say Father. And it brought it down for the songs that I have in my song list. I have 8 songs with the word Father in them. So I can select from there, or if you have a phrase that you know is in a song, you can type that in. You can also change, this is set on any field whenever you switch to a keyword search. So it's going to search by whatever you type in. It's going to search the title. It's going to search the author, copyright, administrator, song number, and the words for whatever you typed in there. All right. Importing songs from Song Select. I don't know that I'm logged in. Let me get logged in to this real quick.
While Dan's doing that, I'll go ahead and do a... Yeah, we don't want you to see Dan's login information. It's... hang on. I didn't actually switch it back.
Oh, there you go.
You still saw it. We frequently get the question, what is Song Select? What is CCLI? And how does it work with EasyWorship? So... CCLI is a different company. They do not have any affiliation with EasyWorship other than we are both, servants of the church in our industry and our niche. And so they provide all of the song information, not only the copyright side, but all of the lyrical side and all that fancy stuff that Dan deals with in his church every week. So we have an integration directly with them so that in the software, you used to have to manually go in and, if you were following what you were supposed to do every week, you were supposed to report your song usage. I don't know how many churches actually knew that they were supposed to do that or actually did, but you were supposed to. But EasyWorship's integration with Song Select by CCLI does that automatically, so you don't have to do that or worry about any of that. And then we also have a full access to their entire song database. However, you do need your own Song Select license to be able to use that feature. So that's not included in our software, not included in our pricing. You need to have purchased that separately if you want to have access to this. Does that sum that up? Oh, Dan's leg fell asleep.
We need more comfortable chairs.
Put it on the list. Put it on the credit card.
All right. So we are logged into Song Select. And what shows up first is the top 100 songs from CCLI. So you can choose any of those songs. I think I have most of these installed into my database already. But you can also search for songs. Jared, what's a song I can search for?
Holy Forever.
I think that's in the top 100. It is the second one.
Yeah, I know. It's because it's the one I always search for because it's the only worship song I know. I'm just kidding. I know more worship songs than that.
Let's see. Let me just start typing
come all ye faithful.
Oh, come all. Oops. E.
That's the.
Oh, there it is. Oh, come all ye faithful.
The second and only other worship song I know.
Oh, look, it's already in my database. Wait, what about this one? Okay, here we go. Oh, Come All Ye Faithful by Chris Tomlin is not in my database yet, but this is a song I want to import. So on the right-hand side of the screen, I have Show Details. It gives me a little quote in the song or a line in the song, and I can check and see if it's the right one. I can also go to Show Details, and it's going to show me the CCLI ID number, the title, the original key, the copyright information, and then if I want to download the PDF of that song, I can click here. But if I click on the ID number, it's going to take me to CCLI's website to view that song. So if that line of the song doesn't tell me that's really the one I want, I can actually go to CCLI just by clicking that link. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to say this is the song that I want. So I'm just going to click import. And then it took that fast. It was like 2 seconds. And then I click view in library and it takes me directly to that song in my library. So from here, I can drag and drop it to my schedule if I want to use that song for this schedule. So that is importing your songs from Song Select. Just by searching a song or selecting a song from the top 100.
Now, Dan, say you have a hymnal at church that you would like to get a song from. What would the best way be for you to get that from the hymnal into the software, would you say?
If it's in a hymnal, it may not be that version on CCLI. So you would probably either need to get a text version from the hymnal, and you could import it, or you can type it in manually.
Could you show us how to add a song manually?
I can. So there's a couple of different ways. I'm going to go to All Songs. And one way is you can go to the New button at the top and click on New Song. You can also just right-click in your song library and click New Song. Or you can click the plus button at the bottom of the song library, and that brings up a new song window as well. So from here, you can give it a title and then just start typing in your song lyrics. If you want to add a label, the labels are going to be verse, chorus, bridge, ending, intro, whatever label that you want to have on that song. It can even be just a generic label that says slide or whatever, slide 2. And that's not going to show up on your live output slide. What's going to show up is when you click in the song field here and start typing in the song. These are the song lyrics. And when you want to add a new slide, so that's going to be one slide. If I want to add a new slide, I'm just going to click the plus button in the bottom left corner, and that's going to add a new slide. And I can start typing in the song lyrics there, or give it a label if I want to. Once you give the song a title, you can click OK, and that's going to save the song into your database. So that's how you would add a song manually by typing it in. If you want to import a song, I don't think I have a text file of a song on here. But if you have a song in a text file or a Word document, you can import that by clicking this import button right below the title. And it's going to default to a text file. I think if you have Word installed, it'll give you an option to select a Word file as well. But you can select your text file and click open, and it's going to, wherever your returns are, or a double return in the text file, it's going to create a new slide. So if you have those broken up into a verse or a chorus or anything like that, it'll import as separate slides. And then just give it a title at the top and click OK, and that will be saved into your database. So there's just a few different ways you can import songs or add songs to EasyWorship.
If you make changes to a song in the database, will it save as a new item, or will it save to that version of the song in your database?
If you make changes to a song?
Yeah.
If you make changes to a song, okay, so there's two different ways you can edit songs. One way is in the database. If I wanted to edit one of the songs in my database, let's say I want to change Oh Holy Night, and I'm going to edit the song, right click and edit the song. And let's say I just want to break these up into different slides because the verses are pretty long. I don't want that much text on a slide. And also I don't want this song to have the text over in this top corner. I don't know why this background is on the theme of my song, but anyway. I'm going to click the cursor where I want to break that into a new slide and press Control Enter. And that's going to move all the text after my cursor down to a new slide. So now I have two slides for my verse 1. I can click my cursor at the end of that second slide again, press Control Enter. Now I have 3 slides for verse 1. So if I make those changes and I click OK, those changes are saved in my database. So if I go to something else and come back to Oh Holy Night, I can see that I have 3 slides for verse 1. Those changes were saved permanently in my database. So it does not create a new item in my database. It just replaces what was already there because I edited that song. If I add this song to my schedule and I right click the song in the schedule and go to Edit Item, I'll see that it's formatted the way that I have in the database. But let's say I don't want to sing verse 2 this week, and I just want to remove verse 2. I'm going to right click on verse 2 and delete slide. And also I don't want chorus twice there, so I'm going to delete one of those choruses. So now I just have verse 1, chorus, verse 2, or verse 3, and chorus 3. So if I click OK, I've saved those changes to the song in the schedule. So I can see in my schedule now I have verse 1, a chorus, verse 3, and chorus 3. Did that change the song in my database? If I click on the song in the database, I still have verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus 2, verse 3, and chorus 3. So it didn't change my database. So if you want to make changes to a song temporarily for one service, you can add it to the schedule, edit the song in the schedule, and just save this changes to the song in the schedule, and it's not going to affect your song in the database.
I actually didn't know that. That's really cool.
If you make changes to the song in the schedule and you want to save those into the database, we talked about this before, all you have to do is right click on the song in the schedule and check schedule for changes. And it's going to come up and say you have a difference between this song in your schedule and what's in your database. What do you want to do with it? And you're like, what changes? What's different? I can click compare and it's going to show me what's different. Oh, that's on a different screen. Let me bring it over here. All right. So it'll bring up a compare window and it shows me. So the background is the same. If the background was different, it would show the different background as well. So it shows me here that I have verse 1, chorus 1, verse 3, chorus 3, verse 1, chorus 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So it shows me the differences, and I can choose which one I want. I want to use the schedule item, or maybe I want to use, if I want to save that in my database, I'm going to use the resource item. Oh no, that's update schedule. I want to add this. I want to add to the resource to create a new resource item, or I can replace it in the resource to update that into the resource and import it. And that's going to change what my database is to what I edited in the schedule. If that made sense. Did I say, I said that backwards maybe. It's going to say whatever you saved in the schedule, it's going to move that into your database. All right. I think that answered your question.
Yeah, it's great.
I think that's about it on the songs. When you're editing a song, actually, I'm just going to go to the schedule because I don't want to change too much in the database. I'm going to right click on a song in the schedule and edit the item. There are a lot of different things that you can change in the editor. I can change the background per song or for the whole song if I want to. If I wanted a different background for each slide, I can go to the slides view. I can change it by words or slides, but the slide view actually shows you the slide. It's a little bit easier to change the backgrounds. If I go to media on the toolbar, you can drag and drop a background onto a specific slide in the song. If you want to change the background for all of your slides in the song, let's say I want to use that one, but I accidentally just moved it to this first slide. How do I make the other ones the same without having to drag and drop it to every single one? I'm going to go to the inspector, and in the inspector, I can click on background, and I have this first slide selected, so I know this is the background I want. I'm going to apply that to my theme. If I do that, you can see that all of the slides changed to that background. The other way you can do that is click on the Masters tab at the top over here on the left, and any changes that I make here are going to apply to all of the slides in the song. And so if I move the text box to be full screen and then go back to slides, I can see now, oh, those didn't update. I can see now that all of the slides have full text on the slide. But you can change the transition for the song. If you add an element, let's say I want just an element on the slide, I can put that on the slide, but it's in front of my text. I can go to arrange and send it to the back. So now it's behind my text. So it uses layers, and you can arrange those layers to the front or the back. You can change text options if you select your text box, different alignments, layouts, formatting, different font, different sizes, opacity, outlines, shadows, bullets. You can do reflections of different elements on the slides. There's a lot of different things you can do through the inspector. And then once you make all the changes that you want, you can click OK, and it saves those settings into that song. Again, if you're making the changes in a schedule, it's only going to save those changes to that song in the schedule. If you want them to be permanent, you can either make the changes in the schedule and then check for changes and apply those to the database, or you can edit the song directly in the database and it'll keep those permanently. All right. We'll pause here and see if there are any other questions on songs.
I haven't seen any other questions specifically on songs, and that was also a good descriptor of the inspector and how to change things in the Masters tab and to the theme. I have had a few questions about presentations, some of our best practices in building presentations in the software, automatic transitions between slides in presentations, importing from PowerPoint. And we had someone ask a question about Canva and building presentations in Canva and exporting those into the software too. So do you want to touch on some of those?
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and, well, first I'll mention the Canva thing. The only software or third-party software that we integrate with is PowerPoint. So if you use OpenOffice, Canva, or whatever to create presentations,
Google Slides,
those are not going to work in EasyWorship. They have to be PowerPoint files. And you have to have PowerPoint installed on the computer for those to work in EasyWorship. So
as a quick disclaimer, what we advise everyone to do is if you have a presentation that you're wanting to use in EasyWorship, like a presentation with slides and auto timers and all, like delayed start and all this stuff, we always recommend just build it in the software rather than building it in PowerPoint or in, Canva or one of these other tools. We understand that some of these other tools might feel a little bit easier. However, they're not made to work one-to-one with EasyWorship. But if you build your slides directly in EasyWorship, you will never have an issue with transitions or things not displaying correctly or, any of those things that you'll probably run into if you're using anything other than PowerPoint import or just building it in the software. So that's my disclaimer.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it'll run smoother, faster.
Yep.
If it's built in EasyWorship. So we'll just jump over to presentations here. So when you create a presentation in EasyWorship, well, first of all, I'll start with PowerPoint. You do need to have PowerPoint installed on the computer. EasyWorship does run that in the background whenever you import and go live to a PowerPoint. So that is a prerequisite, is to have PowerPoint installed. To import a PowerPoint, you just need to right-click in the database and click Import PowerPoint File. This one is already in the database, but you would just select it and click Open, and it's going to import it into your database. So this is a PowerPoint. Looks like something we did a few years ago for CFX. But you can see I can go live to it, and it's a little bit slower, but it is going through the slides. It has all the animations, transitions, and everything, just like you create it in PowerPoint. All right, so that's one thing that EasyWorship does that no other software can do, is run a PowerPoint just as it was created in PowerPoint. So again, just right-click in the presentation library, import PowerPoint file, and then select your PowerPoint and click Open. And it's going to save that as a presentation in your Presentations tab, so you can go back to it anytime you want. To create a presentation in EasyWorship, again, it's like the songs. You can go to the New tab or the New button at the top and create a new presentation, or just right-click in the Presentation library and click New Presentation. So this is going to look a lot like the songs editor, but one difference is the song editor only has one slide. It's a lyric slide. The presentation has different slide types. So you can see here there's a different text box. We have a title and a subtitle. And the different theme types that we have are a title. This is a title slide that it opens up to. There's also a title and content, a content only, a blank slide, and then a scripture slide. So any of those if I changed this to, let's say, a blank slide, it's not going to have any text boxes there. All right, so to create the presentation, we're going to right-click and go to New Presentation. And then from here, you can type in your titles. I don't know, what did you say the best practices for creating a presentation? It's really going to depend on the content of your presentation or what type of presentation it is. An announcement slide, if you want it to auto advance and loop. Here's a couple of different things you'll need to know. So whenever you create your presentation, you can add, I'll just add some different images here. I'll add a countdown. And these are, I'm just dragging and dropping from the media area into the left side. That's one of our pickleball games. So I've just added a few slides here, and then I'm going to give it a title. We'll just say announcements. And then a subtitle of, I don't know, hello. All right. So this is our announcement slide, but I want it to loop and auto advance. So what I'm going to do, I have two different slide types in here. The first slide is a title slide. The other 4 slides are blank slides, or they're actually media slides, but they are blank slides because we don't have, there's not a, when you add a media item like that, it creates it as a blank slide. So the first slide as a title slide, if I go into slide and tell it to advance automatically, and we'll just say 3 seconds and press enter. And so that saves that. So if I say apply to theme, because I want it like songs, if you want it to add or make those changes to all the slides, you're going to click apply to theme. So it should do the same on presentations, you would think. But if I go to one of the other slides, the blank slide, it's still set on click. What's happening is each one of these different slide types is a theme type. So the title slide, when I clicked apply to theme, it's only applying to title slides. So if I want to do all of these slides as well, I can change this to automatically after 3 seconds and press enter and then apply to theme. Now that I applied it to the blank slide, all of these blank slides will have that 3-second loop as well. Now, if I want to loop the entire slide, I can go to, or the entire presentation, I can go to presentation and click loop presentation. Now, if I give this a title and call it announcements and click OK, and then I'm going to drag and drop this into my schedule. Let me make sure my title is showing. All right. Now, when I go live to this, again, I've got this selected in my resource area, or I can select it in my schedule and click go live, and it goes live. And you can see the progress bar here goes for 3 seconds and then switches to a new slide. And once we get through this one, it's going to loop back to the beginning and start over. All right. So that is creating announcement slides. You can do that with any type of slide in there. Just make sure that they're all, that they all are set to advanced. One thing that I will mention, you notice I have a countdown timer in here, or a countdown video. If I want that video to play all the way through and then go to the next slide, I want to set this, I want to select this slide and then go to slide over here on the inspector. And I want to tell it to be delayed. And I'm going to set delayed to 0. And then I'm going to just click OK. And when I go live to this again, I just double clicked on it to go live. Now it's going to play the entire video. You can see the time on this is 5 minutes and 8 seconds before it advances. I'm just going to jump to the end, and we're at 0 seconds, and it automatically advanced to the next slide.
And then there's our company playing pickleball halfway through the church
and
service.
You can, yeah. So any video that has, that you want to show the full video, but you still want it to loop automatically, you can set it to delayed, and it's going to play the full video and then advance to the next slide. And the timing on that, I put 0 because I didn't want it to wait to go to the next slide. If you put 0, it'll automatically go directly to the next slide. If you want it to wait a few seconds and then go to the next slide, you can put a timer in there for that. All right, so that's announcement slides. If you want to just create a presentation like for your sermon notes, I would just say, actually, let me create a new presentation, right click and new presentation. So here I can put in my pastor's title, maybe a subtitle if he has one. If I create a new slide, I can put in the title here. If I want the title on every slide, I can use a title and content, and then type in the content that is for, has his sermon notes. If he has points 1, 2, 3, 4, what I like to do is I'll change this to a content only slide. And then I'll just add all 4 points. So let's say I have, let me do point 1 and then enter point 2. Oops. There we go. 2, 3, 4. So I have point 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what I'll do is I'll just duplicate this to 4 slides. And then on slide 3, I'll just delete the 4th one. On this second slide, I'll delete 3 and 4. And on the first slide, I'll delete 2, 3, and 4. So then as he goes through his points, I'll just click on, so point 1, that'll be up there when he gets to point 2, or if he's using a remote, he can advance it automatically himself with his phone or his Apple Watch. And then when he gets to point 3, he can go to 3, and then 4, he'll go to 4. So that's how I create my pastor's announcement slides, or not announcement, his sermon slides, because he usually uses different points. So point 1, 2, 3, or however he does it. And I'll just put all of the content in one slide and then duplicate the slide to however many I need, and then delete from the bottom up each slide. That way everything is, if it's aligned to the left and the top, then it's just going to look like it's adding each point every time you go to a new slide. So that's just a little tip of how I do my sermon slides for my pastor. All right. I know you probably weren't listening, but how is that on the presentations?
It was really good. I was answering like 1,000 questions over here. People have just really been going to town, which I love. It's very great being fully engaged. I feel like I've answered most of the questions over here. It'll actually be faster for me just to answer this question out loud versus writing it down. Somebody asked, I was curious whether my church needs to transition to a subscription license. I'm assuming that you are a one-time purchaser from a previous version of EasyWorship, like EasyWorship 6, maybe EasyWorship 7, or even some of the much older versions like 2009. And they're curious if they're going to lose access to their license in the future should they choose not to subscribe. As far as I am aware, you will never lose access to a license that you have purchased, a one-time purchase license. That being said, we have sunset those old products, which means we no longer support those products. So if you're having trouble with EasyWorship 6 and before, we can't help you with those because now we have a whole new group of technicians who weren't here when EasyWorship 6 was around. They're not trained on it. They don't know how it works. A lot of the hardware that you could be using in your church might not play well with older versions of the EasyWorship software. And there's not a ton that we can do because we don't, just like any software company, every software company sunsets old versions of their software, and we just don't have the resources to continue to support those. You will never lose access to that license. If you have a working license of 6 on a working computer, awesome. Continue to use that forever until like it doesn't work anymore. And then you can consider subscribing. If that does happen and you are interested in moving to a more updated version of the software, getting access to new features or getting access to new integrations or our premium media library, we are happy to work with you on those. Feel free to talk to our sales and support team. We would be happy to work with you on that. We'd probably give you a huge discount because you've been a user for so long and using older versions of the software. And feel free to ask for a discount. We're happy to do that. We'll work with you guys. Other than that, somebody was asking about multicam, and I didn't know if you had touched on adding a feed to a schedule versus a song or a presentation.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really talked about media yet. So we'll jump over to the media tab. So on the media tab, this is going to be where you store all of your videos, images, your feeds, if you have a camera feed, into your computer. DVD clips. I'm not completely sure, but I think we might be the only software that still plays DVD clips. And then audio files. So your videos and images are going to be your primary libraries here. And then feeds, you mentioned the feeds. So you can add a camera feed to your computer through a capture card or a webcam, anything like that, and then use that as a background to your songs or your scriptures or presentations, or just go live to the camera feed by itself if you want to. Multicam, are they talking about using multiple cameras?
I'm going to assume so. Let's assume yes, multiple cameras in a single setup.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, if you have multiple cameras that you're bringing into the computer through a capture card or multiple capture cards, yes, you can create multiple feeds and use EasyWorship as a mixer, and you can mix those by selecting those as backgrounds, dragging and dropping those feeds onto different slides in your songs or presentations, however you want to use those. Those can also be NDI if EasyWorship does support NDI input. So if you have a camera set up on your NDI through your network, you can bring that into EasyWorship as well. It doesn't have to be on a capture card. You can also send NDI out. So EasyWorship will send its output not only to, or you don't have to send it to a display monitor. You can send it out through your network through NDI. So images and videos, if you have your own videos and your own images, those can all be imported. We do recommend using MP4 videos. If you have overlay videos with transparent backgrounds, we do recommend using WebM files. The images could be really anything from JPEG images to bitmaps or even PNG files, transparent pings if you want. And then DVD clips, if you have a DVD player still in your computer, you can create clips from DVD discs into EasyWorship. You do have to have the disc in the drive when you go live to it. It doesn't actually copy it to your computer. It just, again, kind of like the web page, it creates a link, not really a link, but it plays it from the DVD itself. And then audio files, if you have MP3 files or WAV files, you can add those to EasyWorship, and you can even attach those to songs. Like say you have Amazing Grace song lyrics in your song database, and then you have a version of it, the audio file that you like, you can attach that simply by dragging and dropping that onto a song in the schedule. And when you go live to the song lyrics, it'll play the audio file with it. So this is where we were going to talk. Oh, one other thing I said I was going to do when we get to the media tab was I was going to show you how to add a logo to the logo button at the top. So I'll do that real quick. And this can be done with videos or images. Basically, you are going to, let me find one here that I like. Let's use live stream. So I'm just going to right click on this live stream video and then click on use as logo background. Now that I've done that, I'm just going to go live to a song, Oh Holy Night, and then I'm going to click logo, and it's going to show my live stream video, and it's just going to loop that live until I click logo back off. So any video or image you can create as your logo, and beyond that, if you have a looping presentation that you've created in EasyWorship that you want to be your logo, you can also, let's say I want this announcement slide to be my logo. I can right click on it and use it as my logo background. So now if I click logo, it's going to go through that announcement slide as I created it as my logo. So if you have different slides that you want, if you don't want it to just be one slide, you can create a presentation or a looping presentation and set that as your logo. All right. So back to media. I'm going to talk about the premium media that we were mentioning earlier. If you subscribe to the premium subscription of EasyWorship, you have access in the software to all of our premium media. And when you go to premium media, even if you don't have a premium subscription, if you go to premium, you'll be able to see all of the media that you can download. You just won't be able to download it. So if you see a bunch of stuff in there that you really like and you really want to use, just for a few dollars a month, you can subscribe to the premium media and download all of that. So from here, I can, like on this collection alone, there are 106 pieces of media in this collection. So if I go to that, there are 16 backgrounds, a couple of countdowns, different elements, lower thirds, social media graphics, title media graphics, overlay graphics. There's ultra wide, there's all kinds of stuff in this. So there are a lot of different collections that you can go and view and download, and it's always going to show the newest stuff first. So any kind of, so at the top here, we just had our Independence Day last week in America. So a lot of these ones at the top, all the collections at the top are for our July 4th or our Independence Day. Before that, there are different things for like Father's Day. There was Pentecost, all that kind of stuff. There are collections for. And then as you scroll down, you'll see some other things, like there are just specific mini movies or countdowns or things like that that are available for you to download. And again, right now it shows me that there are over 36,000 items available here, specifically 36,389 at this point. And those are added, the media, the premium media is added to, I believe, weekly. So there's new stuff added every week. So you're never really going to be without media when you have a premium subscription.
One of the questions that we get pretty frequently is, are you guys going to add additional media representative of different cultures and different countries? That is definitely something that we're working on. I would say predominantly right now, a lot of our media is, at least some of that's targeted towards holidays, is probably more centralized to US based churches. But we do have producers outside the country, and we're looking to add to those teams. So if you have anybody who creates content, feel free to put them in touch with our company. We'd love to hear from them. We're definitely trying to expand that side of the company to make sure that the capital C church across the world is represented in our media store, right? Because right now it's basically a lot of it can be sort of, for lack of a better term, agnostic to your church, as anybody can use it. If it's a nature background or it's lines or, just pretty image or whatever. But a lot of the mini movies, a lot of the holiday-based stuff is very specific to U.S. So we'd love to expand that side of it for people who are curious about that or representative of different people groups or cultures around the world.
Yeah. I think we're looking up at a couple other questions here.
Yeah. One of the questions that's been asked very frequently, and we answered this early on, but if you have two different languages that you're wanting to display at the same time, we call that in number of outputs. Basically, you're presenting on two different displays, totally different content because it's not the same exact content. We currently don't have the capability to do that within EasyWorship. What some churches end up doing is putting them on the same slide or on the same display in some way. If you're trying to do two different languages, just one upper and one lower, and then you break out your slides a little bit differently so they each have only a few words on each one, so it's easier to read. But if you're wanting to truly do that, that is something that we're working on in the future. Once EasyWorship 8 is released, EasyWorship 8 is basically building the foundation, the platform for the future of this product. So, it will be releasing with a Mac version included in it, and a user interface update and a few other things. But the majority of that is updating the code base to a platform to where it is easier for us to do stuff like cloud synchronization immediately, integration with other products in the future, and specifically in number of outputs, which is something that we would absolutely love to bring to you guys as quickly as possible for sure. One of the other things that has been requested a lot is Bibles. And I mentioned in the YouTube chat, if you're in that chat and active in there, that's something that we can't really speak to right now. If you are asking for a specific version of a Bible or a specific translation of a Bible or a specific update to a version of a Bible, that's something that we kind of have on hold at the moment. We understand how critical and important that is to your church. And it's something that we were working diligently on having better answers for you, on being able to whip those out a little more quickly. However, it's really, really challenging on our end dealing with the copyright holder of those Bibles. There's a lot that you don't see. It's not as easy as copy paste this and throw it in the software and then it's available to you. Right. There is a big, long legal process that goes into having any access to a Bible. So just be aware of that and have a little bit of grace on us, especially one of our salespeople, Leslie, who's our specific Bible person. She gets all of the feedback and all of the backlash daily on Bibles. So please be kind to her. We love Leslie. Other than that, can you play YouTube or Vimeo videos through EasyWorship? This is something that's often brought up and we've answered once before in this stream. We cannot tell you that you should play YouTube or Vimeo videos through YouTube.
You can.
You're able to. Should you? We cannot tell you to, because most likely if you were playing a YouTube video or a Vimeo video, you do not have access to that copyright. You did not create that content. And so you are violating YouTube or Vimeo's policy, like privacy, copyright policy. So,
their terms of use is private only.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So you can do whatever you want. We can't tell you. We can tell you that you humanly can do it. We can't tell you should do it.
Correct.
Yes, this live stream is recorded to be watched later. If you're tuning in just now, you can feel free to play it back right now. And we will also be monitoring the comments and chats on these videos, both on Facebook and YouTube, in the coming weeks. So if you have any questions later on and you've rewatched it or sent this to another volunteer on your team and they had questions and they posted in the chat, we'll be sure to respond to those in the chat. If you have any troubleshooting questions with your setup, if you're interested in EasyWorship as a product and want to learn more about it, or you're an old user on an older version of the software and you're looking to upgrade, or even the possibility of upgrading and getting a discount, please contact our support team. We would love to hear from you, hear your church's story, pray with you, whatever that looks like. Feel free to email our support team at support@easyworship.com. I've also posted about them like 50 times in the chat already for all of the questions that I don't know the answers to. They will definitely know the answers to. Those guys and girls are incredible who work for our company. Let's see. Do we have much more to go through in the software, Dan?
I was going to go through the Bibles a little bit and then maybe just kind of go through the schedule.
Let's do it.
And then I think we'll be good. Mostly going through the basics of EasyWorship.
Sounds good.
All right. So scriptures. The scriptures are available in EasyWorship. It shows you the complete Bible in one spot here. I can scroll through. This version is the NIV, and that is a copyrighted Bible, so it's one that has to be purchased. But I can scroll through the entire Bible right here. You can see there are 31,086 references. That means there's 31,086 verses in the NIV Bible here. So to be able to search for what you want in that Bible, actually in EasyWorship is very easy to do. In the search box in the top left here is a reference search. So you can search by whatever book you want. It doesn't delete. There's a lot of people that, I guess when you use Windows, it feels like when you highlight something and hit delete, it should delete, but here it does not. So you just type over what's there. Highlight Genesis. If I want to get to Matthew, I just start typing in Matthew. Oops. And again, it's an autocomplete and it jumps to the book that you type in. So it autocompletes alphabetically to Matthew as I type that in. So from here, I can use the arrow key or the space bar to get to the chapter and just type in the chapter and then hit the space bar again and type in the verse and it jumps to that verse. So if I wanted Matthew 7:7, it brings that up. I can drag and drop it into my schedule. Now, if I wanted to search by keyword, it is very simple. Just click the icon in the search box and it changes to a magnifying glass. Now from here, whatever you type in, either as a keyword or a phrase, it's going to search every verse in the Bible for that. So if I typed in Jesus wept.
Say Jesus swept?
Jesus swept.
Oh.
No, wept.
Oh.
And there are 3 verses in this version of the Bible that have those 2 words in it. Now, if I wanted the specific phrase, all I need to do is start that phrase with a quotation mark. So if I put that in, now it only shows one verse that has that specific phrase in it. So that quickly, I was able to find that verse that I was looking for. So one last thing on scriptures. Well, not one last thing. I'll do a couple other things. One last thing on searching is if you try to search for a reference in the keyword search, you're not going to find it because it is actually searching in the verses for those keywords. So if I typed in Genesis in the keyword search, it's not going to find anything. I'd have to go back to the reference search to actually type in a reference to search for it. So that is a key on searching Bibles, either references or keywords, to make sure you're on the correct search. One other thing, whenever you switch to, actually I'm going to go back to Matthew, and just so I have something else selected here, if I switch to a different translation of the Bible, it's going to stay on that same verse. So you don't have to search that again. If you want to purchase other Bible versions or download any other free Bibles, you can click on More Available. And this shows you all the Bibles that we have available. The license that I'm in has all of them purchased already, so I can download any of these are free. But if you haven't purchased it, it's going to show you a buy button, and you can buy it directly in the software here.
a lot of people ask why Bible versions aren't free. Mainly because we don't get them for free, and so you guys are basically just covering the cost of the Bible to the copyright holder.
Yes.
So we do provide several versions for free for any user, but those are specifically ones that are public domain and are fully accessible to anybody anytime. So if you see a cost in there, we're not pocketing a ton of money on each Bible purchase. It's there for...
Yeah, in the contract, we have to pay a certain amount for every Bible that's downloaded.
Yeah.
All right, so that is the Bibles. And then I'm just going to go back to a couple verses here. I'll just add some in. And so creating a schedule is just dragging and dropping for the most part. So I can add, let's say I want to... I'm going to go back to videos. I'm going to add this countdown. I have the announcement slide here already, or the announcement presentation. So I'm going to add that. I can move things around in my schedule if I want to move them to a different area. I can even go expand a song. Let's say I don't want to sing the interlude on this song. I just select that slide and click delete, and it deletes that slide. If I want to move the chorus before the verse for this week, I can just drag and drop that there. So you can make changes in the schedule itself with the slides just by dragging and dropping or deleting. All right, so then once I have that schedule created, I can save it. So I'm going to click save at the top. And it gives me an option to save on my computer. And again, there's a pack files and schedule at the bottom. If I'm creating this schedule on a different computer than what I'm presenting, I want to make sure I check that box. And then I could give it a name and click save. If I'm creating it on the same computer, it doesn't matter. I don't need to check that box to pack the files. So I'll just give it a name here. I'll just say 1 and save, and that schedule is now saved. All right. So once you have the schedule, you're ready to go, I can double click on the first item or just select it and click go live at the top. So now when I go live, EasyWorship is automatically queuing up the next item in my schedule into the preview. So live, I have my announcements, and then when I went live to that, Goodness of God is queued up in my preview area. So I don't have to actually go back to the schedule. If I wanted to, I can kind of move the schedule down, and then I just go live when I'm ready for it. I'm on Goodness of God. We're singing this song. We're done with the song, and I'm ready to go to the next item. It's already queued up in the preview window. So all I have to do is go up here and click go live. And now I'm live to the next song. So EasyWorship is simple in that way that it just queues everything up for you in the order that you have the schedule created, and you can just go live to it. And then just select whichever slides you want.
This is back to Bibles, Dan, actually relevant. Is there a way to add an entire chapter of the Bible together, or do you have to do each verse one at a time?
Okay.
Of course you can do it. Our software's easy worship, not hard worship. Know what I'm saying?
All right. So I'm going to go back to scriptures. Now, let's say I want the full chapter of Matthew 1. I'm going to select Matthew 1. If I knew how many verses were in here, let me see. 25. So there's two different ways I can do this. I have verse 1 selected. I can hold the shift key down on my keyboard and then go down and click verse 25, and it's going to select all verses 1 through 25. And then I can drag and drop that in my schedule. Or I can say I want, how many are in 2? Verse 2, chapter 1, 23. All right. So I can type in on the reference side, I can type in Matthew 2, 1. I'll just put 1-23. And it selects all of those. And I can drag and drop those into my schedule. Now, there are some options that you can change in the options menu for your scriptures that tell it to automatically flow the scriptures to a new slide when that slide is full, or you can have it create a new slide anytime there's a new verse. So I'll show you that real quick. I'm going to go to Edit, Options, and then click on Scripture. And right here we have automatically flow scripture on multiple slides. And if I want it to just break on a new verse, I'll click that and say okay. And I think I have to add these again. And now I have a different slide for every verse that I added, but they are all together. So let's say I want to add 2 or 3 verses that are not together. Let's say I want Malachi 1:10, and I want Matthew 8:12. I select the one, hold the Control key on my keyboard, and then select that verse. And then maybe I want another one. I scroll down farther and I want Matthew 12:7, and then I can drag those in. And now I have those 3 verses that I selected. And those are always going to be put in order by book, chapter, verse. So even if I select them not in order this way, it's going to put them in order, I believe. But using the Shift key, you can select multiple consecutive verses at one time, and using the Control key, you can select multiple verses that are not consecutive. All right. So to answer that question, yes.
Yes, absolutely. It is doable. Okay, so just a heads up to all of our incredible viewers tonight on YouTube and Facebook Live. We're going to be shutting down in just a few minutes here, so this is kind of last call. If you have any questions about the software, questions about Dan's hair care routine and how he looks so good at 72 years old, we'll be definitely happy to field those. I'm also just kidding. Dan is like 40 something. He's great. People are asking about the beta for EasyWorship 8. It's available through our users group on Facebook, facebook.com/EasyWorship.
Or our community forum on our website.
Or our community forum on our website. If you're interested in finding that, I'm going to go ahead and post that in the chat one more time. I know I've posted it a few times for those of you who've been here the whole time. Once again, if you have any additional questions, feel free to ask those, and we will get to them as quickly as possible. Did you have anything else you wanted to go over in the software, Dan?
Probably the only other thing would be themes. So I think a lot of people ask about like a default background for their scriptures or a default background for their songs. You're going to set those up by the themes. So if you go to themes, there you'll see that we have song, scripture, and presentation themes. Oh, let's go back to EasyWorship. All right, so I'm under the themes tab, and we have songs, scriptures, and presentation themes. So under the songs, I can create a song theme, a default theme. So I think I have this one set as my default. Yep. So it's got a check mark next to set as default song theme when I right click on it. If I wanted to change that to a different one, I can right click on a different theme and set as default song theme. So now if I go back to my songs, all of my songs will be showing that background because that's my default theme. So the same thing with the scriptures. If I go to themes and click on scripture themes, if I want to set any of these as my default scripture theme, let's find one here, right click on it and set as default scripture theme. And so now if I go to scriptures, that is the background for my scriptures. All right. And then the same thing for presentations. If I have a presentation theme that I want to use, I can right click and set that as my presentation theme. Now, if you have your alternate output enabled, you can also set a default theme for your alternate output for the presentation, scriptures, and songs. Now, an easy way to create those themes is if you add any videos or images to EasyWorship, you can right click on any of those and copy it to your themes. So copy to theme. If I want this as a scripture theme, I can right click and copy to my scripture theme. So now if I go to themes and click on scriptures, oh, I have 2 of them. It was already there. Let's say I want to create it in my presentation themes. Copy to presentation theme. And then if I go back to my presentation themes, there it is. All right. So an easy way to create themes. You can also just right click in the themes library and create a new presentation theme and just add a background yourself. This is for presentations. So you can make any changes you want to that theme. Even if you edit a theme, you can make any kind of changes you want to that as well. And those themes also can be, you can add drag and drop presentation themes onto a presentation in your schedule. You can drag and drop scripture themes to scriptures and song themes to songs in your schedule. All right.
Awesome. Everybody say thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Dan, that was awesome, man. Always appreciate your knowledge of the software and everything you bring to this company. So somebody said, can you send me the link for the EasyWorship 8 beta on email? If you post your email address in here, I'll send it to you. Other than that, I don't see any additional questions coming through right now. I saw a couple of like fluff questions, like how did you start working at EasyWorship? How did you start working at EasyWorship? Yeah.
I was using EasyWorship at my church and had no idea they were located in the same city as I was in. And then one of the guys that I went to church with, I called him to get some information about something, and I was going to meet up with him, and I said, where are you? And he said, I'm at work. I'm at EasyWorship, which was a mile away from where I worked. I said, oh, are you hiring? And he said,
you, I am.
He said, yes.
That's awesome.
And that's how it happened.
And
now he's no longer here.
20 years. Yeah. Oh gosh. Like no longer here or like, oh, he's
no. He's working somewhere else.
Oh, okay. Whew. I thought you were, sorry. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Great.
He's still with us.
He's still with, just not with us.
At EasyWorship.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So I started working here 5 years ago because I have a friend who works here, who we worked together before. And he was like, hey, you look like you have fun talking to people. Come work with us. And I did. So that's my interesting story for the day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, this morning, this afternoon, wherever it is, wherever you are. We appreciate your time so much, more than you'll ever know. And we appreciate you guys using our platform to help reach the world. Our entire purpose, our entire goal is to, as a company, is to move the church forward, to equip churches. And that's why we make a product that has a super low barrier of entry, both on price, on ease of use, and stability. We want to give you guys something that is effective, is cost effective, and is stable for your church. That's not going to crash on you on Sunday morning. So once again, shameless plug. If you are interested in using EasyWorship and you're not a current user, feel free to check us out at easyworship.com/pricing. You can see how much it costs. We're happy to work with you on pricing. Feel free to give our support team a call or email. You can check out the premium media subscription, which is the best value that our company offers for sure. We get constant compliments on that. Everything that you guys saw on the software today that Dan added in, all of the pretty backgrounds and videos and all of that fun, fancy stuff, Dan pulled that straight from our premium media subscription. And it is, I just want to reemphasize, it is all you can eat. It is like a buffet where you come pay a few dollars, and we are not going to limit you on how much media that you can download in a month. So you can come and get what you need for your church when you need it. whoever's in charge of your creative direction, or if you are just a church with a single person running tech, I promise that it is a value that will save you a ton of time rather than having to go and slam your head against a wall trying to think of what you want your sermon series to look like or your slides. You can just go to the media store and just click download or into the software and just click import, and then you don't even have to worry about it. You can just drag and drop it to where you need it. So highly recommend that. Other than that, news for our company, EasyWorship 8 is in the latest stages of development that it can be. We don't have a full release date yet. The beta is available through our users group or on our support forums that you guys are welcome to check out. Those will also be available posted in the chat/comments of these videos after they are posted. What am I missing? Come see us at conferences later this year. If you're in the United States, we'll be at SALT Conference in Nashville. We'll be at Experience Conference in Orlando, Florida, and we will be at Worship Innovators in Chicago. Dan will be at all three of those. I will be at I'll be at SALT and Experience, and we'd love to get to know you. We'll probably take you to dinner if you say that you hung out with us on our live stream. We'd love to get to learn more about you guys and spend time with you. We will be doing another summit, training summit this fall. If you have any ideas specifically for what you'd like to hear in those, more intermediate and advanced training, let us know. We love the feedback and the ideas that you guys present to us, and we try to always cater to those when we can. Do we think it would be best to wait until version 8 to go premium? No. I mean, version 8 isn't going to add anything new for premium. We had new premium media every single week. We have one person who's in charge of doing all of the manual labor behind it, and bless her heart, she is amazing. Elizabeth is awesome.
You would get the benefits of premium right away.
Yep, absolutely. Other than that, I think that's basically everything. Yep. So if you guys don't mind, we're going to close it out like we always do. I'm going to go ahead and just say a prayer over everybody here. Dan and I will be praying for you guys from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and just wherever you are, if you wouldn't mind just bowing your heads and closing your eyes, and I'll close out our stream with a prayer. Dear God, thank you so much for the opportunity to bring Dan and I here, sitting together at this table from our crazy different walks of life, to just engage with and love on, encourage, and just show and instruct the people who are here in this live stream how to use the software to their best abilities, God. But ultimately, Lord, we know that the purpose of that, the purpose of the software and learning how to use it and engaging with your church, God, is to help bring people into your fold, God, to help show them your joy, your mercy, your love for us in ways that in generations before weren't possible, God. And Lord, we just pray that you will continue to enable us as a company. You will continue to enable all of the people here in service to your church as tech volunteers or pastors or youth pastors or whatever that might be, God, that you would just help equip and encourage everybody here to help effectively reach the people around them, Lord. We thank you so much for the opportunity to serve you and your kingdom, God, and we thank you. We just thank you and posture ourselves in just a heart of thankfulness for the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made for us on the cross, God, and your mercy in being able to send him to do that. God, we thank you for our lives that we live, God, and we pray for the world that we live in, Lord. Pray for anybody here who's dealing with pain and hurt, medical issues, God, that you would just place hands of healing and move mountains and perform miracles in their lives. And we thank you for the friends and family who help encourage us every day to help us keep doing what we do, God. We thank you for everything you've given us, Lord. And in your name we pray. Everybody around the world said, Amen. Amen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.